Good morning. I often talk about how I despise the progressives, the progressive movement, the progressive ideology, everything about it. I disdain, or I hold disdain for. So today I want to first list 5 things I did last week, and then talk about why I hate the progressives. Number 1, I helped unload a delivery of windows for one of the job sites that we're on. Number 2, I helped install several of said windows. There were a lot of them and they were big. Man, that house is going to look so dope when it's done. Like giant ass windows in a stairwell. It's going to be awesome. Let me see. Okay. Number 3, I laid out 2-inch thick rigid foam in the basement, and I had to cut it to make it fit around pipes and around corners and things, the architecture. So I laid out the rigid foam. Number 4, I laid out the metal reinforcement that is going to go in the concrete that's eventually going to go on top of the rigid foam. Not only that, but this floor is going to have it's going to be a heated basement floor. So there's going to be tubes of water that are ran through the concrete. And then the water heats and runs through it, radiant heat. So that was number 4, right? And then the metal grid, you just put metal in your concrete pours that just reinforces it. Number 5, I volunteered at my local Humane Society. And I had just the most wonderful experience with a pup named Wally. Wally, the one-eyed love bug. He's on my shorts. Go watch my shorts. You can see him. 5 things I did last week. Took me 2 minutes to do and to record. Might take you 3 minutes if you have to do it in email fashion, right? Why does that matter? It doesn't really matter, but it does in that the progressives that I earlier mentioned that I possess a hatred for were going crazy over the last few weeks when Elon Musk sent out a directive to all federal employees saying they need to respond to that email with a list of 5 things that they got done last week. And then to CC, which means to carbon copy. If you didn't know that, Kyle, you suck at emailing. Reply all, bud. Reply all. So carbon copy your manager. The reply all was to Kyle. He doesn't often reply all in our email threads. Anyways, okay. So you CC your manager on 5 things you did. And the progressives were losing their shit over this. Oh my God! No one elected Musk! But the reality is that people did elect Donald Trump knowing Musk was going to be doing this. They literally knew this was part of the plan. So people didn't directly elect Elon Musk. They elected Donald Trump because Donald Trump said he was going to let Musk do this. And he's doing it. And I don't love Elon Musk. Don't get me wrong. I'm not here to side with Elon Musk. I'm here to raise awareness to your hypocrisy. The progressive ideology does not care about class at all anymore. It is this stupid race Marxist nonsense. And the proof is the fact that they're fighting against the exposure of egregious levels of fraud and abuse within our government contracting institutions and organizations. So much fraud that those of us who are anti-government have been complaining about for literally decades. What are the downstream effects of fraud? Well, it continues to grow a cancerous organism known as the state, which requires more and more money to run, which requires either the printing of more money, which debases our currency, or it requires more taxation, which takes away from our income. So the bigger the government gets, the less we have in purchasing power. It's that simple. And these government programs aren't doing shit for our society. So much of the money is just being laundered and stolen and given to their corporate oligarch friends. I don't like Elon Musk, but what is going on is wrong. Universally wrong. It should not be a left or a right thing. And yet the left, because they have lost their fucking minds to the brainwashing propaganda, will just fight anything that the right tries to do, whether it's good, bad, or neutral. They're just so worked up, and I'm worked up now too, but the lack of logic within their movement and ideology is very triggering to me. It is not logical, because any logical, rational human would be against fraud and abuse and theft of resources, theft of the working class's resources. Let me try to calm down. I'm sorry, but we could be so much in agreement and in alignment against transhumanism, against government overreach, against the size and scope of the government. That should be the easiest dunk we have to build solidarity, to use one of your words. I like a lot of your language. The leftist language, like solidarity, inclusivity, diversity, all of that shit is awesome when it's done the right way. But because y'all have been brainwashed and manipulated to be useful idiots, you're creating this social tension that doesn't need to exist, that shouldn't exist. Because we should be agreeing on this shit. Okay, thank you very much. I think I'm done being calm. I'm going to pause, find out how I want to wrap up the video, and then report back. I'll be right back. The theory of the social contract that suggests we need a government says we are going to voluntarily, even though it's not voluntary, voluntarily give our tax monies to the state, and they're going to be responsible fiduciaries of said tax money to build society. And yet, we've been paying increasingly more and more of our income in the form of various taxes over the last 80 years, and our standard of living has been just decreasing because of the insane, it's not even just a little bit, that's the thing. If it was like a little bit of corruption, a little bit of skimming off the top, all right, whatever. We might be able to let that go. But no, these are like just, I used the word egregious already, so I need to find a better synonym. But just absurd, obsequious? No, okay. Anyways, the fraud is beyond a little bit, and we should be agreeing that that is bad. But y'all are screaming about having to list 5 things the people we gave our money to build society. Like, you're screaming that they have to do that. That's so absurd to me. I'm sorry, but this is why Donald Trump won, and this is why you're continuing to lose. You're going to, like, oh my gosh, if the ruling class doesn't do something insane, I don't see another Democrat winning the presidency in probably 20 years. There's probably going to be a strong run of conservatives, because you got J.D. Vance, who I don't necessarily like or dislike. He seems like a charismatic, intelligent guy. And I see that and I'm like, man, I wish he wasn't in the government. I wish he was just in the private sector applying those talents there. But no, he's probably going to be the next president of the United States. And then after that, we might first get our first woman president, a woman of color, in Tulsi Gabbard. Oh my gosh, people love her. I love her. I would have voted for her in 2020 as a Democratic president. But the progressives, the establishment, they iced her out. They booted her because she did not toe the party line, the corrupt party line. So I would have voted for Tulsi in 2020 as the first female president. Man, when she took down Kamala Harris, That takedown, if you don't remember, she annihilated Kamala Harris. And then what does the party do? They make Kamala Harris the VP. She was the least popular primary candidate in that 2020 cycle. But, oof, she knows how to toe the party line. And by that, I mean get on her fucking knees. I'll end the video there, but it's kind of true.